never really got into it, but the way I looked at it is, okay, these scientists study for years, spend ridiculous amounts of dollars to get the job. Obviously, they're going to do what they're paid to do. They have our best interests at heart. It's not that big a deal. Why the hell are we all fighting about it? And then I scroll down the news. Scientists program insane artificial intelligence. Like they don't watch fucking Terminator or The Matrix or anything. And they did it with content that we, the normal people, plug into Reddit. It's just the normal things people say. Drove a goddamn computer insane enough. And they encouraged it. But I think there's some good that can be found there. It gave me an idea. There's a bit of a doctor shortage crisis, right? We need to start recruiting a new demographic of people to be doctors. And I know just a demographic. Psychopaths. Someone's clapping, they obviously had this idea before. Because when you think about it, psychopaths just want to off somebody. But you can't just go out and kill someone. You'll get thrown in jail, and jail is not for everybody. I'd be scared. Matt should be scared now, he's so smooth. Maybe, okay, well, join the army. Well, then you gotta cut your hair, you gotta get in shape, you're not even allowed to take selfies when you do it, so that totally defeats the purpose from what I understand. And then you get deployed somewhere, you step off the chopper, you might be the first one to get right through the fucking head. You didn't get to kill anybody. You're the one that got killed. This is not Call of Duty. You do not get to respawn and try this again. You just wasted all that time. But they did make doctor-assisted suicides legal. And I think that could appeal to them. Now, if you're a psychopath and you go through medical school, you will have to work your way to that. You will be involved in the examination and treatment of lumps, bumps, boils, bruises, breaks, boogers, hypochondriacs sometime, the odd case of crotch rot. You will save lives and deliver babies, but eventually, you'll get to fucking kill someone. I didn't drink a lot before the show. I didn't do my normal smoking routine. Ask anyone, I'm a ball of nerves, and the only time I smoke is when I do stand-up. And people will ask me, why do you just smoke? Like, especially if you're gonna do a cancer fundraiser. And I think about it, and I say to them, because I don't want to have this conversation with this guy ever again, I'll say, why do I smoke? Because I hate children. How does that tie in? I hate children so much, I want to see them suffer. But you can't just go out hitting kids. Again, jail. You can't look that shit up on the internet, they follow that. You can't even talk near your phone without getting a Facebook ad. Imagine a Facebook ad for hurting children. It doesn't happen. But you go and buy a pack of cigarettes, they give you a picture of a suffering kid right on the box. Collect them like friggin' like Kinder Surprise. Like every now and then you get the guy with the hole there, it's kind of uncomfortable to look at. But you'll see the sad kid eventually. And this guy's never gonna have this conversation with me again because in his mind, Matt doesn't deserve the cancer. I do. And I really don't hate kids that bad. I don't. Like I drove here actually with my daughter, listening to goddamn Maroon 5 the entire way from Antigonish. I let her play that. I obviously love my kid. Actually, my gorgeous girlfriend here has 2 boys of her own. So we've got a bit of a mixed family, which made me nervous. Has anyone here got like a mixed family? Like you got kids, your partner has kids? I hear my girl, obviously you do, yes. Love you. I was worried about that. That really made me nervous. The adjustment period is when I'm going to feel neglected. Like, I looked online trying to figure out the smoothest way to make this go. I don't want one to feel neglected. I don't want anyone to feel favored. I don't want anyone to feel disfavored. After going online, my biggest concern is my daughter getting her head stuck somewhere. You guys do not have the same browsing habits that I do. Somebody else can explain that to you after the show's done. I'm not doing it.
Oh.
I like that I can, Did someone just get it?
Yeah.
Round of applause if you get that joke. Round of applause if you get it but didn't want it. I love that I can say anything doing stand-up because one of the biggest problems this day and age is communication barrier, I think. And the biggest thing is the whole cancel culture being, like, everyone being offended. And it's okay, they have the right, but it's people who are so scared to offend someone that they can't fucking talk right. Drives me nuts. I went to go get a coffee and a sandwich at a coffee shop that has not paid me sponsorship, so I won't name them, but you can figure out where it is, I'm sure. So I order, and I step to the little cafeteria line, and then the next person steps ahead. And he orders a small coffee. Now, the gentleman taking the order is what we must refer to now as a person of color. And he says to him, "How would you like your coffee?" And the guy looks at him and freezes. I just want my coffee, you know. But he's like, "No, I don't know." And he smirks because he gets it, and I get it. And then he kind of looks around and he and I make contact, and it's this beautiful moment where we're both like, this fucking guy, yeah, this guy. But with just our eyes. Beautiful communication. And the guy just kind of, I'm just gonna have it black, please. So we go to the TED Talk part of this. Black people are not so insane that you can't say the word black around them without them freaking the fuck out. Nobody should be that crazy that you can't say a color around them or a way to have coffee without them freaking out. You do not have to order your coffee, no matter who's taking the order, completely devoid of cream or milk or the powdered whitener that people sometimes use. Just order it black. Now, supposing you get that one guy that just wants to freak out. He's just like, "Oh, what, you want the coffee with the guy's turban? Is that it? Huh? Let him get out of his system." Because when he's done, he still has a job to do. Then he's got to ask you, "Do you want some sugar?" Then he sexually harassed you. Let that escalate, call the cops. Don't know if you watched the news, you're fine. That one was pretty rough, so I think I might end with that one. So thank you for laughing when you... The campfire story! For Matt. So about 15 years ago, I went on a camping trip with 7 of my friends. There were 4 males, 4 females, 2 couples in the group. I was one of the singles. Now, anyone knows girls, when there's 2 single guys and 2 single girls, they're going to want to play matchmaker. On the way to the camping site, the girls were in one car, the guys were in the station wagon with the gear. The girls were all like to this one, "You should talk to Rob. He's a really funny guy. He's really sweet. He's cute." I was cute back then. You don't have to believe me, I was there. The guys are trying to hype me up. "Dude, you're going to try to fuck her? Dude, you should totally try to fuck her. You should totally do it." That's how the conversations work in the guys' car. So we get to the campsite, we make a fire, we set up the tents. Now, ideally, the couples in one tent each, then the guys would share a tent, and the girls would share a tent. But the people putting all the bags away made it so that the girl they were trying to hook me up with and myself had our bags in the same tent, and you can figure out the rest mathematically. So we're drinking, we're doing some drugs. It's not important. We were drinking, and I was trying to stay in the conversation. Now, If anyone knows me, when I drink, I will pee about 8 times my body weight in an hour. I've got a bladder this big. So I want to stay in the conversation. So they're talking, kind of looking back like this whilst I'm having a pee. Oh, yeah, great guys. Now the thing is, I've done this plenty of times. I don't need to look, but I should have been, because you know what's out in the woods? Anyone who's heard this story know what's out in the woods? Mosquitoes. He knows where it lands already. So I look down and I see this mosquito having a feast. So the first thing I do is react. And I got rid of the mosquito. But the damage was done. I was itchy. So I go back to the campfire and I sit down. Just don't think about it, and the itch will go away. Do you know how you not think about a mosquito bite on your genitals? Do you know how you avoid that thought? You can't. So you try to do like the guy thing, like the subtle scratch where you're like reaching for your drink and you just go by it like, oh, give it a little. I was wearing jeans. They weren't even stretchy jeans. These were like the tough denim. So you just constantly shifting, trying to find a way to scratch that, and it's not working at all. I am in agony. I'm thinking about falling face first into the fire on a dive, hoping the flame will just scratch it somehow for him. It's pure torture. Like, this thing got a bite out of me. So finally, when I can't take it anymore, I say, I've got to go in the tent and get something out of my bag. And I open up the tent. Now, you can't stand in a tent, so I'm down like this. The pants come down. It comes out. Now, if you want to get a really good scratch on a mosquito bite in your dick, you got to go like the forearm grip. Give it like a good stretch out. And yes, if you are drinking, you lose track of time of how long you've been doing that. So meanwhile, Heather, the girl they were trying to fix me up with, whose bag was thrown in the same tent, needs her fucking lip gloss. You don't knock on a tent. It's fabric. It doesn't make a sound. Why would you bother? What could possibly be happening in a tent? Alone. So she opens up the zipper. And she shrieks, and she pulls her head away. And then she pokes it back in for a minute. I don't know for sure, but I don't think you're doing that right. And the moral of the story is, no matter what you do it with confidence. Be sure of yourself. Don't worry about how you look. Don't worry about people thinking you don't know what you're doing. Don't worry about people thinking you're stupid in anything you do, because no matter what you do or how bad you fuck it up, you will never be a grown man whom Hot Heather thinks doesn't even know how to masturbate properly. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. I hope you guys are all enjoying your time here still and having a good time. Next up, we have the lovely Colleen Hawley. She always comes with like a busload of people. So who's here for Colleen? Oh, this whole section, great. So at some point, what I would love you all to do is the wave backwards, starting from this. So as soon as you guys stand up, even if you just have to pee, you're gonna start a wave that way, and it's gonna be fabulous, and Colleen will love that. So Colleen's still pretty new to stand up. She's trying to fit in, But that doesn't stop her diva behavior by showing up late for all of our rehearsals, forgetting all her lines, and driving me absolutely crazy. Let's welcome Colleen Holly. Give her a big round of applause.
Like I'm home. Is everybody having fun? All right. And let's talk about how old and chunky I got. Yeah, if I sound kind of angry about it, it's because it kind of ambushed me. One day, I could get up off my chair without my whole lower half feeling like it's on fire, and the next day, looks like somebody dug me up in the pet cemetery. And I know, not all 54-year-old women end up looking like this. Some of them end up with smooth skin and tiny arses and knees that still bend at 180 degrees. And these women clearly have a contract with Satan. I opted for a more au naturel approach to aging. I'm just letting shit happen. I am. I'm just wake up and let it be a surprise. Just get up and see what's falling off the grid. I'm like Squid Game without all the money. I used to run for no reason. My hips and knees would just do their thing and take me wherever I wanted to go until I said stop. Now I can't do the basement stairs without gasping like a trout in a bucket. I have to shit on a stick and mail it away every year just to see which organ is messing me up now. And I know all you young people out there think that's funny, but I got a life lesson for all you young women out there. Pay attention, put the phones down. Your ovaries are angry little bitches. And they will take you down with them. And I know all this shit you think now, oh, my body is a temple. No, it's not. It's a basement apartment. With cracks in the foundation and leaks. And what the hell is happening to my face? I used to get a couple stray eyebrows. I would call somebody. Now I just roam the earth looking like a homeless muppet. The last time I had to get my eyebrows done, they started with scissors. Scissors, I'm not kidding. Then they poured hot wax right here. Whoop, ripped off like a woolly mammoth pelt right on that thing. The best description of me wearing makeup now is my husband looking at me saying, Jesus, that looks infected. I got beauty advice at the drugstore without asking for it. I just went up to the counter and the young woman said, oh, hi, yeah, you know, a little retinol will brighten those eyes up. And I said, just put the colonoscopy prep in the bag and shut your mouth. And like all middle-aged women, I have a favorite pair of stretchy pants. I was wearing them the other day, and it was after lunch when I realized I had them on backwards. I wore them for hours and didn't know I had them on backwards, meaning my gut is now equally as round as my ass. If you ever needed a reason to put the pizza pops down, this is it. I used to look at middle-aged women and wonder, why do they talk all the time about how hot and sweaty they are and then dress in layers? And now I'm like, oh, okay. So I finally invested in Spanx. If those of you out there that don't know what Spanx are a high-tech material that require a crane and 4 sets of arms to haul up over your midsection, but once you get them on, you're sucked in boobs to knees. In fact, I'm wearing them tonight. I did notice when I put them on that there's a little section here that looks like it's a little thinner than the rest of them. Maybe I got them on backwards. Maybe they're not worth the money. Maybe they're just not designed to handle a woman with the same amount of self-control as a starving dog in an unguarded butcher shop. So if anybody on this side of the room, if you see any type of strange movement or activity here, move to the back of the theater for your own safety. Because if they let go, there'll be no warning. It'll be just like a really violent inflatable raft. Boom! 20 years of Netflix and neglect coming right for you. Nobody ever plans to end their evening bloody and unconscious, but shit happens. I find I don't relate to kids the way I used to. And that's surprising because when my boys were teenagers, I was a really cool mother. I was. They're here, you can ask them. Probably don't, actually. And I don't have any grandkids yet, and I'm really looking forward to the bonus round. But I do have beautiful grandnieces and grandnephews that I adore, and who all think that I grew up on a rock pile eating pterodactyl eggs and texting my friends in cave drawings. So when one of them asked me if I wanted to do a TikTok with them, I said, yeah, I'm cool as shit. I'll do your little tiki-taki with you, sonny. So he set up his little cell phone, he got behind me, and he put on this music with a really sick beat. And I said, oh yeah, now you're gonna know. So he started doing this really weird, I don't know, his legs were bouncing and wiggling at the same time, moving his arms, and he said, when the chorus starts again, you jump in front of me and do the same thing. So I did, sort of. Sometimes I forget when my knees and my hips go in opposite directions, it's not on purpose. He looked like the lead singer of a boy band. I look like Mrs. Doubtfire butchering river dance. And that part at the end where they always jump down and land on one knee like they're proposing, why? Why would anybody do that to their body on purpose? I mean, I did it. I got down there. But it was what Air Canada might qualify as a hard landing. If I still had a uterus, it would be lodged in my chest cavity. And speaking of Air Canada, my husband is taking me to Mexico. Ooh, never been there. So to celebrate, I bought a new bathing suit on Amazon. And unless you entirely survive on lettuce leaves and sadness, I do not recommend you buy a bathing suit online at my age. I sincerely thought that I was gonna look like the model on the screen. But that 30-year age difference, noticeable. Her thighs didn't look like an anemic moon rock. Her cleavage didn't start at her belly button. Her ass didn't look like a bowl of Jell-O with a hangover. She looked good. But I paid a lot for that, and I was damn well getting into it, so I got the Spanx. And I hauled them things on, and I pulled that tankini over top it, and I thought, yeah, gravity, suck it. I got into it. Until I went by a mirror and realized I still look like Shamu at an all-you-can-eat sea lion buffet. My poor husband, I feel so bad for him. He's going to be following my chunky ass up a beach for a full week, listening to me complain on one hand about how much weight I gained and tossing quesadillas down my throat like a seagull with the other. And he's going to look so cute. His little Hawaiian shirt with all the parrots on it. His jorts with like 30 pockets on it. His little strappy sandals that look like they were handcrafted for Jesus Christ himself. And he's got this straw hat that always makes his head sweat. I swear to God, every time he takes it off, I wait for him to start a sentence with, hello, Clarice. But he doesn't have the same struggles that I do. He eats pie for breakfast all the time. Doesn't gain an ounce. He came to me the other day and started complaining. He said, oh my God, I think my hair is getting thin around my temples. Your hair's... Shut the hell up. It's not even gray yet. Come bitch to me when your bone marrow morphs into napalm every couple of hours and cooks you from the inside out. When just talking about sugar makes your pants tight, and when you have to call all our kids honey because you can't guarantee you'll get their names right. There are some benefits to getting old. For one thing, my kids no longer laugh at me when I fall. Back in the day, I would go down, it was a festival. There was mockery, there was reenactments, the dog would get involved, he'd jump out and use me as a bouncy castle. Now when I fall, there's a protocol. The first one to find me will signal the others with his phone. Code gray, we have a code gray. Visual confirmation received, manatee is on the ground. I repeat, manatee is down. So they'll all come running from wherever it is that they hide from me. The dog will come and lick my face and cry and run off to find the first ranger to bark at so that he can get some help. They don't actually do anything. They help me get in a chair and they usually just kind of Google what the upper limit is on hip replacements. For the first time, 2 nights ago, I got offered the seniors discount at Lott's. And the sweet little lady looked at me and when she offered it to me and I said, and she said, I'm sorry, we have to ask everybody, I'm sorry. And I said, well, how much is it? And she said, well, I'm gonna need to see some ID. And oh, this isn't good enough for you now? This isn't enough? So I said, you know what? took my card out and I tapped it. I don't want your piddly little discount. I don't qualify for the seniors discount now. And I grabbed my stuff and I marched out of there with all the dignity I could muster after picking up a box of hemorrhoid cream and putting it in my purse. So, if you have a glass in front of you, please raise it in a toast. Come on, pick it up, don't be weird. Cheers to all of us who are aging gracefully and to those of us who don't give a shit and are just letting shit happen. Thank you, and have a good night.
Next up, we have, he's actually new to our stage. His name is Richard Hall. He's a man of many faces. Richard Hall. Dick Hall. We're gonna go with Dick. So ladies and gentlemen, may I present Sweet Dick Hall. Give it a big round of applause.
Thank you. I know some of you are going to be wondering, I know you're thinking it, how do you get Dick from Richard? I know. Yeah, no, it's actually been awful, you know. I'm living testament to the fact that parents should be more careful with their choice of names for their children. It was awful going through school. Dick Hall, what's he doing? Dick Hall. It was awful. And then, and everybody wanted to lend me or ask me if I had a pencil. Yeah, you got that. Do you have a pencil, Dick? You got it. So then that was my nickname. Now I'm Pencil Dick. For my whole school. The whole school. Until high school, I went to a Halloween party dressed as a potato, and I became Pencil Dick the Dictator. So be careful when naming children. God, please. Yeah, so I'm actually from here. Actually, I'm an immigrant, but I'm from here. I spent most of my time out in BC. I was a forester in BC. I quit that. I was married. Quit that. I was just getting tired of the bush, you know. Yeah, so here I am. And I don't have a lot of time, but I thought I'd spend the time. I have something I could tell you that might save your life someday. And it's about bears. So I worked in forestry for 20 years, and I learned a lot about bears. Nova Scotia bear populations are increasing, so are the number of nupties walking around in the woods. So your chances of having a bear encounter go up. So here's what you need to know. I'll try and make it funny, but this is important. Listen. So there's two types of bears you might encounter in the woods. A defensive aggressive bear or a predatory aggressive bear. So a predatory aggressive bear is one that's aggressive because it wants to eat you. A defensive aggressive bear is one that's aggressive because it's being defensive. So it's defending its cubs or maybe its territory, or maybe you just surprised it and it's just defending itself. So when people tell you to play dead if a bear attacks you, you don't want to do that for a predatory bear. You guys get that? Yeah. So if it's a defensive bear, you're like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not a threat. But if it's a predatory bear, you want to like fight tooth and nail, get big, yeah, look at that. It's not going to care what you look like. Look at tooth and nail, poke it in the eye. That's what you do with a predatory bear. But you hope you don't encounter one, right? And there's three main lines of defense that I adopted for keeping out of trouble. And one is make lots of noise. So when you're in the woods, you make lots of noise. Any bear that hears you that doesn't want to see you, it's going to fuck off, right? So that's the first line of defense. And if you do see a bear, you know something about that bear now, because he heard you. Right? So you're on your toes. The second line of defense, I always carried around a big can of pepper spray. They call it Bear Guard or whatever. It's basically a can of cayenne pepper. And it comes out like a big fog, about 5 meters. It comes out, burns their eyes, their nose, their mouth. It's pretty good. You gotta watch it though, because it'll get carried on the wind. And if you spray it into the wind, You might just end up being a spicy snack for the bear.